I'm your host, Davina Shensky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits Dreams Come True with the Right Mindset. Today's presentation is What is Breadcrumbing? Six Telltale Signs and How to Effectively Deal with It. Breadcrumb, What? Well, breadcrumbing has nothing to do with the actual breadcrumbs, but everything to do with how people behave when they are in a relationship or dating someone. When you have just started talking to someone and there is a potentially budding romance, things are not always black and white. A lot might not be verbally communicated, and it is essential to pay close attention to one's behavior. There are many ways of communication, and understanding them is so important, especially when you're in a relationship or looking to build a relationship, whether it's personal or business. Falling in love with someone and then realizing that they do not feel the same way about you can be heartbreaking. In an ideal scenario, both parties should move at the same pace and be reciprocal. However, the world does not always go according to the most ideal scenario. That's why it is important to know and understand what breadcrumbing is the way you can effectively protect your golden heart. Belief can be manipulated. Only knowledge is dangerous, said Frank Herbert. What is breadcrumbing? Breadcrumbing is when one person intentionally leads the other person on without the intention of further developing the relationship. Without putting much effort, they show signs of romantic interest just to keep you interested, but they are not willing to commit to a relationship. When breadcrumbing people will flirt and communicate constantly with the other person. They give out mixed signals as they also give non-committal signs. In most cases, breadcrumbers do so as a way to keep their options open. They breadcrumb several people so that they have a few people interested in them, and when the time is right, they can choose. Moreover, it is usually a subconscious manipulative tactic. Sometimes the breadcrumbers are unaware that this is what they're doing. Sadly, this does not stop the other person from being hurt after some time. Now, before I get into the six signs of breadcrumbing, there's something that I want to say. I can remember many years ago, I knew someone, he was dating someone while they were studying to be chiropractors, and she, I don't know the better way to say it, but she made sure she gave him a piece of ass to make sure she had him on on the line when she needed someone to as a date to go places, and she knew from the beginning that she had no intention of becoming serious, and he was talking about how he was ready, almost ready to marry her. So that's an example of breadcrumbing. So how someone can keep you on the line to make sure they have a date when they want to do something, and they're not all that interested in having the relationship go beyond where they're at now. Because when she was ready to go open a practice, she knew from the beginning she was moving back to Seattle. And when they went to go look and listened to some presentations, he found some on the East Coast and wanted to go. And she had no interest because she knew she was never going to stay on the East Coast. So that was an obvious sign. And then he ended up having to stay there for another 6 to 9 months because he had failed the course. And I remember him telling me, oh, he was tutoring someone because they failed the course instead of admitting to me that he was the one that was being tutored and would have to remain there longer. 6 signs of breadcrumbing. They are not consistent. Breadcrumbers lead to be hot and cold. 1 minute they are making you feel special. They text throughout the day, tagging you on social media and sharing moments. The next day, they will be cold, making you feel invisible. When they come back, they pretend as though nothing ever happened. And this cycle continues. They postpone dates. When someone is breadcrumbing you, they might make plans and schedule dates, but they will also postpone the dates. They raise your expectations, then at the last minute, they will have something come up. They are only interested in sex. Conversations with them always come sexual. They end up meeting up with you. They may try to invite you over or insist on going to your place. It becomes clear that their only intention is to have sex with you. They avoid serious conversations whenever you raise an important issue, such as asking them how they see their relationship with you. They avoid the conversation. They might go offline. Then, when they come back, they might start a new conversation, ignoring what you might have asked prior. They don't want to get personal. Breadcrumbers tend to have a huge wall around them. They do not want to share personal stuff about themselves, and they try to keep you an arm's length away. This is despite the fact that you might be an open book to them. They don't want to leave. When you let them know that you're not happy with how things are going and express what you want to leave, they change. They start being there and communicating consistently. They apologize and express the need to keep you more, just so you stay. Once you do, the cycle starts all over again. So, how best to respond to breadcrumbing? Breadcrumbing is a manipulating technique used both outside and in a relationship text. It can happen online or in person. However, it is more common online interactions. When you start observing a pattern of the above signs, consider communicating your needs and expectations, not falling in love too soon, being honest with yourself, meeting other people, reciprocating their way of interacting with you, not taking it personally, having a firm and clear boundaries, cutting off contact with them. Now, being in love is beautiful. However, relationships can also be complex. Some of us have found ourselves in scenarios where there was breadcrumbing, but we don't know what that was, or at least didn't know that there was a name for that behavior. In some cases, we make excuses for our partners and hope that we continue loving them. They would also love us back. Now, we know if it looks and feels like breadcrumbing, it is probably is. Communicate openly and let them know exactly where you are and where you want to be. If they do not share the same vision, it might be best to end the relationship or continue while knowing exactly what you are getting. Now, never be afraid of being alone rather than being afraid of being with the wrong person. There are so many instances where people are so afraid of being alone that they will accept these kind of relationships. And remember this, these kinds of relationships have been going on for years and years, even as in the past, as late as the 90s and the 80s, in the 20th century. But the terminology often changes throughout time. And right now, the current term for these kind of relationships is breadcrumbing.